You mentioned about the Eagles and the Ravens. Are we realizing that the Ravens are pretenders rather than contenders?
I don't want to say that they're pretenders because they are a good team. And like I said, I really like Lamar Jackson. I think he is very underrated. And overall, Derrick Henry had a really good game. I mean, he was averaging 4.3 yards per rush, 19 carries for 82 yards. So not terrible. I mean, he's run the ball well. Lamar Jackson ran 8 times for 79 yards and also threw for 237 and had 2 touchdowns. So, I mean, that's great. He looked good, but the issue is like the Eagles right now, they still have one of the best offensive lines.
Yeah.
Yes, they lost Jason Kels, which is a big loss, but at the same time, like, they still have the other 4 guys who are on that offensive line. You know, they didn't really lose anybody. Then you add Saquon Barkley, who will erase a lot of your issues.
Yeah.
And he's definitely proven that this year, over on another over 100 yards rushing. And then A.J. Brown, Dallas Goedert. I mean, those guys are solid. And then this Eagles defense has been so underrated all year long. But I think what the Eagles defense really did is prove to you that there are ways to stopping this Ravens team. And I think that's not good for the Ravens.
Yeah.
Now, does that mean that the Ravens can't win other games? They absolutely can. Ravens, I still think are a tough out. I think they could, on their best day, beat anybody. But I believe that with the Bills, and I also believe that with the Chiefs, and I believe that with the Eagles. And they're at home against Philadelphia, and they can't beat them. That's a little bit of a concern.
Yeah.
Like, that's a game that you needed because the Steelers in your division are kind of running away with it, and you losing this game. And I know this is a tough one, but you're at home. That should be your advantage. And now you're 4-2 at home, and that's a little worrisome.
Yeah. I think what's tough is this game feels like you put it on Lamar Jackson, but Lamar Jackson, for all intents and purposes, is playing at an MVP level. But I will say, watching some of this game, I think what I felt concerned with the Ravens is, I mean, the Eagles played really well. I'll say that. I'll give them their credit. I'm not trying to say that they're a bad team that just lucked out and beat the Ravens. Yeah. I think the argument more is, I think the Ravens played themselves. They just, whether it was the way that they were running the ball with Derrick Henry, because he did get 19 carries, but he only had 19 carries, I think is what I want to emphasize is I would expect more in a closer game. You're really using him as a battering ram to wear out that defense. Lamar Jackson had only 8 carries, granted 79 yards, but only 8 carries. I think the Eagles, you get that type of team on their heels is you mix in some run plays and you're working with the RPO, you get some play action involved. And don't get me wrong, they took their shots, but the Ravens, just for some reason, as the game wore on, as I'm watching this game, it just felt like that they overcomplicated it for themselves. They were trying to go for big plays for no reason. It stalled out a lot of these drives. Before you knew it, the Eagles just played their brand of football. They ran the ball effectively. They took care of it. And they were able to just get down the field and able to create opportunities for themselves. It does not help, though, that the Ravens had Justin Tucker, who missed, 2 or 3 crucial kicks?
Yeah.
Or he missed 2 field goals and an extra point. So that's, 7 points right there, and they lose by 5. This is a completely different game if he hits those field goals. But again, the Ravens, for some reason, seem to beat themselves before a team does.
Yeah.
And by all intents and purposes, the Ravens should be at the same upper echelon as the Bills, as the Chiefs, and yet they're just not there. They're the little brothers of the group, and it doesn't feel like, even with Derrick Henry, they should be this elite team, and they are just, unfortunately, underachieving. And they're even doing that in their own division, which is hard. So I think the Ravens, I don't want to say pretenders, but I would say, like, maybe they're not as ready as we thought they were.
Yeah. I just want to say this. Raiders, trade for Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
I'll take him.
If the Ravens want the third overall pick, it's theirs. If we can get Lamar,
if it's Lamar Jackson or Shedeur Sanders, I gotta go Lamar. I'm sorry.
yeah, he would be so fun in Las Vegas.
He would be so good.